Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Keeping healthy and safe as usual. Quick tutorial for you. Another tutorial regarding the track that's going to be coming out on my Morph Artist album, which I have been dying to put this album out, but because of the damn COVID situation, as I previously mentioned, we had to push it. So we're looking at this year, possibly this summer, if the vaccines are distributed and people can get back to somewhat normal and go out to clubbing, because there's no point of releasing an album, in my opinion, if you cannot be on the road touring for it to promote the album. And it goes hand in hand basically. So yeah, the whole COVID thing threw a curveball on this. But beautiful things for you guys is I've never planned to set up a Patreon account and do something like this if it wasn't for the pandemic. So I guess it's a win-win for everybody, and I get to do something with my really die-hard beloved people, fans, friends who are want to see how I do things behind the studio. And like I said before, I'm a very I keep stuff to myself. I don't share a lot of things. I'm not the type of person who just throws everything out there in regards to how I do things. So I approach this to a very personal way for myself, and I giving away some of the stuff is I don't normally, I don't do the stuff like that as much. But for you guys, this is I'm an absolute, thanks for everything, and I love sharing this with you guys, and I'm loving the feedback, especially from my boy Todd. I'm hoping you're getting something out of this. I know you're gonna get something out of this because I found something in this track that it's gonna help you with production, that some of the questions you've been asking me about. Anyway, so we're gonna dive right into it here. This is Drifting Under. Drifting Under is the track I sent you earlier, like 2-3 days ago, I believe, for you guys to hear the entire track from the album. I put up the radio edit for you guys to hear it, so just to kind of get a taste of what we're going to be breaking down here. So this is the track on the album called Drifting Under, and this is how it was put together. So let me get this position right. You don't need to look at me anymore, and let's focus on the music. So this is the entire project for this track. As you can see, the greens is basically, normally, if you want to know, like, the green is what I played musically myself, MIDI notes and whatnot. The blues normally reflect loops or samples that I have chopped up, and just audio samples. So it's a good way to kind of see it, to understand that anything here is me playing notes, MIDI notes, and anything in blue up here is chopped up samples, loops, vocals, drum loops, percussions, top loops, all that stuff that's in blue up here. So starting off with this track, I know it's something I don't probably mention, probably I haven't mentioned in the last couple of tutorials, and I'm sure some of you seasoned producers already know about sidechain. Sidechain is always good to have a sidechain channel put up here, to kind of modulate, your bass lines, your percussions, all this other stuff, which will all pump to a certain degree, so the track kind of breathes. If you don't know much about sidechaining, I'll be happy to create another tutorial just specifically on how that works. So just let me know in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure some of you already know about it or use it. But it's a great way to add it, and I always add it on the top. It's always there on every project I do, so it's like a given. I add a sidechain kick that will just modulate for everything through a bus to a compressor. So we've got that. Let's break it down one by one here. So let's see, this first percussion. So that's just a percussion loop that I found, and I just kind of chopped up myself. And as you can see, I didn't make the whole loop. I the entire loop will go all the way to the end, obviously a full bar. But what I did is I just took a little piece of it and just left the end out. So here, see, the entire loop would have been probably like this. But I felt like it needs to be like this. Now, the reason I do stuff like that, it makes the groove a lot groovier, in my opinion. When you kind of start adding, subtracting things, like for example, that missing part, it'll be found somewhere else down the line in the track where something would be added. Most likely it'd be this part right here, which will compensate for what's missing here. So you'll go dum 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 bum, like that. So it gives it, it's the thing like I spoke about, almost like a call and response. So the reason why I leave this gap is to give some breathing room for something else to come in and pop into it. Think of it like Tetris. That's all you're really doing. The music is just like you're getting pieces to kind of fit together without just brick walling everything, boom, 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 boom. It's not all like, it's all layered on the same thing. It's the same kind of cube. If you chop it up, leave that little piece and put another track down here that will fill that gap, it gives it a really nice groove. And that's what gives it that kind of chugginess. The tracks I make has that, everybody says, man, your track is super chuggy. Groovy and chuggy, and that's how you get that chugginess, is when you chop up the samples and adds bits and pieces. So I believe, let's see, this old school snare I said. So yeah, here's perfect example right here. As you can see, I added something right there to compensate for what I took out from here. And I'm sure there's more stuff down the line, but now check this out. So that you can see right there, that added that little kind of snippet snare from this loop, which again, look, I took that out as well. So this is an entire loop in itself. See, it's been chopped up. What's grayed out, meaning I've muted it. I've physically have muted it from the entire track. That's why it's gray. What you see blue is what's actually active in the track. So with this loop, I took those parts out, but kept the end tail. And with this loop, I just chopped that out and brought that in. And also, if you can see in this loop, I made it so it kind of rides into it smoothly. So I actually faded out the intro of this track. So it kind of gives you that swing with the kick. So it gives room for the kick to breathe, this to come in, and then this to take over. So it's literally like a puzzle, or Tetris. So in my head, at least the way I see things, it all kind of fits pieces like a puzzle to create the entire picture. So a lot of guys, what they do, they just like layer brick after brick after brick after brick, and assuming they're all gonna kind of modulate and breathe together, which really just creates cluttery, in my opinion. So yeah, so right here I faded. Let me open this up more so you can see. I fade the intro, took this out. This is completely muted. Kept that little snippet of a snare. Then here I cut the loop short before it ends, and then kicked it with another snare. So again, it sounds like this. So you've got that. So that's kind of my percussion flow. So we've got the percussion flow. Then let's see here. Unmute that. Yeah, this track is super simple the way I've made it. Let's see here, and this. So this loops takes on what I'm doing up here. So it's basically almost similar to that, but I've layered it in a way where, as you hear when the track plays, it all kind of works together. Because it's on different volume levels. So let's see here. I'll put this on. This is all three, just the percussions for right now. So that's my groove right there. That's basically what's gonna groove the track throughout the project. So I focus on that. So it's simple, 3 percussions, chopped up a little bit and just make them work together, like I said, in a Tetris kind of funky way. Then I've got this fade shake. Again, I take a full shake. Let me get to this. This is a shaker right here, and if you can see, it's been also faded in, so that way it compensates to what's going on here. You've got a loop here, then little snares, and I don't need more stuff here because it's gonna sound really cluttery in this half of the loop. So what I do is I fade the entire thing and let it slowly come in. So at the end of this loop, you'll have a nice little here. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll let you hear that first. This is. So yeah, so you see it fades in, and here it cuts off again, and it's not a full loop, to give it that pumpiness, the groove. So you'll hear what I'm talking about right here. So I'll bring the loops again together, and this is what it sounds like. You hear that? Like it. That's what gives it that chugginess. You just ending the loops short, just a short stop at before the loop completely completes its cycle. Let me let you hear it with the kick, because that's how kind of. Where's the kick? Do I have the kick here? Is it? See how now it all kind of comes together, the whole shebang, the whole Tetris building the house. The way it stops short at the end, it gives it that kind of refresh of a reset. So when the track starts actually playing, and then you see the bass drops and the synth comes in, it all complements each other. And yeah, so let's go with that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So now we've got the kick. Here I'm using, the Ultra Beat kits and stuff. So we've got more Ultra Beat kits here. So you hear that? So let's go to this, just so you. See that? There's actually nothing there. That's the filler for what's missing up here. When I told you there's a little gap, this is what's gonna fill that gap in. So you'll hear it now together. So now the other element comes in. I know it's hard to hear here, but that's what's happening. It's all these little sounds, man, that makes. See, that's all that is. That's this right here. Duck, duck. Duck, duck. It's just building up slowly, like Tenaglia says. So, yeah, so let's go back to everything you've seen so far and see how it all works together. All right. So next thing, this is the most over thing that a lot of producers overlook. Let's see here. And this is mainly for my homeboy Todd. I was talking to you about this earlier, about your tracks, that I think, it needs something to kind of align the undertow of the track, to kind of give it a lift. I was suggesting like white noise or something, just something that percolates, undertows the track, just to keep it kind of going so it doesn't sound so flat. And what I'm talking about is something simple as an ambient sound like I have here. Let me show you. This is using Albino 3. It's just, I just decided to use it just for that. It was nothing like, again, it's my homeboy Rod Papin. I love his stuff. Um, but all this is just an ambient sound that just rolls underneath the track where there isn't much going on. So, for example, there's the intro of the track. Since it's really quiet here, you just add some, whether it's a white noise, something just popping, whatever. In my case, this is what I've added. Oops, let's see. This is what I've added. So this is just to fill some gap that's kind of quiet in the track. Um, yeah, it's just an ambient sound, something just to carry the track. And as if you can see, it only happens in this area right here, where not much is going on. As soon as the entire track opens up, which is starting right over here, you see that is cut off. I don't need that to carry on, because it's just gonna create too much. It's gonna create too much. It's gonna take up space. It's gonna take up breathing room for the other stuff to breathe. So I have this in the intro of the track, and also in the outro of the track, because at the end of the let's see here. I have it in the outro. No, just in the intro. I actually muted because there's there's a lot of stuff still going on at the outro of the track. So if really I only kept it in the intro of the track where isn't much going on. Soon as a lot of the elements drop, which happening right here, you see this ends, which is just background noise. So the background noise, again, it's this. And now let me show you how it works with the track, because it fills it in. This. You hear that? If you go hear the track that I sent, this actual track that I sent to you 2 days ago, you'll notice, if you can't hear it on these, obviously the way we're doing it, you may not be able to hear it as well, but you'll notice it in the track. Now the big boy comes in. You've got this going for a good amount of time, kind of the track building, and this is right about here, at around like a little over 1 minute is where I like the bass to kind of drop, at least for this track. I try not to do the same thing for every track, but when the bass line comes in for certain tracks, I want it to come in and make an impression. I want the bass line, when the bass line drops, that people who, whether they're talking or they're dancing, I want them to notice, shit, something just happened, or boom, oh fuck, did you hear that? So my bass lines are like my fucking, I don't know, the headliner of the track, I guess you can say. It's gotta make an impression. It's gotta be the thing that stands out, and everything kind of works around it. So here at about 1 minute 18 seconds is when the bass line drops. So let's let you hear that. And again, here's the bass line, just in case you can't see it. This is the bass line dropping right here, and I'm sure you guessed it. My go-to is the sub-boom bass. Actually, I received the sub-boom bass too as well, which is really amazing. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but this is my go-to for bass lines. Almost like 100 times of the stuff I do. So here we go. This is right here is the bass that I played, which will be coming in, so you can check it out. notice how the shake plays really nice. Part of this is why I chopped it, midway. It creates that groove. So when the shake comes in, chicka 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 chicka, chicka chicka chick, chicka 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 chicka, it gives it that chuggy grooviness. Let's start it again so you can hear. Also, notice here, the ambient sound that I have, as everything starts coming in, I slowly fade it out with automation. It slowly fades out. I don't just like complete dead kill. It slowly fades away, so you don't even notice it. Because of stuff like that, you don't even really need to hear it. It's undertowing of the track, so it's better to kind of slowly fade it out. It works better than just a complete dead kill. So let's go back here again. This is the bass line. As you noticed, as the bass line comes in, some of my main stuff drop. The kits, like the kicks and the percut and the hi-hats and whatnot. Now watch the shakers come in here. The breakdown. So here's the breakdown. So now we introduce the bass line. Now we're gonna introduce the track. The main everything is gonna start coming in together. Now this track, obviously I wrote all the keys you're gonna hear, and it's as simple as you can see right here. Ba-ba-bam. Everything you see in purple and pink here is just me playing with the cutoff of the soft synths, the sub bass boom and the saline synth, which is what I use to create this track. So that you see again is just me turning, opening up the cutoff and closing the cutoff to kind of build the track and have it kind of wave up and down and kind of modulate with the track. So there I'll keep this open so you guys can see. And here, as you can see, the ambient is about to, kind of take a dive, get out, because the big stuff is coming in. I just wanted to show you the MIDI keys that I was playing for this track. These are the keys that you see, and as you can see here, it keeps building and building slowly, turning up the cutoff filter, and then so let's keep going. stop right here real quick, just to tell you, you already see the keys what I'm playing. So these are the basic keys of how this track is building. So we don't need to see this editor anymore. So here you're about the breakdown happens. All I did is, as you can see, I did some orange here. I like to color code things because it lets me know what's going on. So basically it's just the same loop, and I might have removed some things here. I'll open it up. So that's my drum pattern for what I've created with Ultra Beat. As you can see, I probably see muted here, muted here, muted here, muted, meaning this is a little bit different than what's going on here because I've muted certain elements in this track, which is, the kick, the snare clap is muted, the wood block is muted, and that's because what's happening right here is the breakdown. See, the breakdowns happen right here. One other thing I forgot to show you guys what's going on here. This is pretty cool. So what I like to do, I like to also fuck around with left and right panning. So something will pop here, then will pop here as the track goes. So here with this, I called it whoop whoop. What you see happening here is left pan, right pan, left pan, right pan. So it kind of gives it also another kind of a swing to make the track to swing. Let me let you hear that alone so you see what I mean by that. This is it. So look at that. See how, can you see it? Yeah, that's all this shit here. You notice my pan, how it's moving back and forth? Boom, 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 boom. So that way. So what it's doing, you hear that, tuck, tuck. It hits left, right, left, right, left, right. So that's all I'm doing is I automated that so it goes ba, ba. So it'll go like, you can see my hand. So it'll begin ba, 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 ba. So that's how it's hitting the speaker. So let me show you again. See, watch it here. It's just constantly moving. And I muted every other one. That's why you see when they're turned on. Yeah. So if you actually see this. This one's muted. Hope you can see it, man. Yeah, so this one's muted, this one's on, this one's muted, this one's on. So yeah, so it's every other one. But if I turn them, let me turn them on so you can, I'll unmute, so just so you can get a better idea what I'm talking about here. So it's really like this. See what's going on here with my panning? Really quick, left, right, left, right. And with the track, this is what it sounds like. Boom, 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 boom. It goes boom, boom. Listen. Boom, boom. Turn it up so you guys can hear it. But yeah, it goes boom, boom, boom. Again, just adding to that groove, making the track breathe. So there's a chugginess going on. It's just like, it's all about the chugginess and the groove and the modulate and the breathing, and it's all coming together, kind of builds up and down. It's got to just like, give and take, give and take, give and take, give and take. Think of it like a freaking freight train, man. It's just like, it's got to chug, at least in my opinion. So anyway, so yeah, I just wanted you, I forgot about this part right here. So, all right, let's go back to the main track. Let's see what we got here. So we were at the breakdown. Yes, sir, at the breakdown, and we're about to introduce another element. So back at the breakdown where we were before. So right here, let me take that out. Okay, don't loop no more. All right, so here's the breakdown where we were earlier with the orange, changing up the orange. So next thing I'm gonna introduce is the salient. another really cool soft synth that I use. I use this to kind of create some nice I don't know, feeling. It's got a lot of emotions. The synthesizer, some of the sounds on it very emotional. You can say trancy, but if you mess around with it enough, it actually you can get some fucking really dope, beefy, grimy elements. But I use this to undertow the synth I was playing, that one that was building. That's right here. So now this is gonna start coming in. Let me pull it up. So as you see the synth that was building earlier, we were listening, I'm gonna have something else coming in and undertowing it as well, and slowly building and modulating with it. As you see, builds up, then drops again, builds up. Very little stuff going on, but it's noticeable stuff. So let's go back to the breakdown where we were earlier. Here's the breakdown. Now I took everything out, and this is now coming in. You hear that? Basically, all I'm doing is playing the same notes as the main synth and just giving it that breeze so it starts building and building and kind of open up before everything drops. So let's go back again to see how that all sounds. Get the picture. It just slowly building up again, coming to another major breakdown. And with this major breakdown, I did a bit something different. As you can probably hear, the hi-hats right here. Again, the end is chopped out, so it's not a full loop hi-hat. But what happens here when the track breaks down again, when I break down the track again, the entire hi-hat loop happens. So right here, let me open this up. Not full hi-hat, not full loop, but after the second breakdown, full loop hi-hat, which really adds a big difference to the track, especially when everything comes in, because it all kind of complements everything. So let's move this a little faster here. Yeah. So here's the second breakdown. You can see everything is a bit higher now. Everything's kind of opened up compared to what we had back here. As you keep an eye out on the purple and pink. See how it starts the track? It's literally from beginning, starts from nothing, and as the track builds, it slowly everything rises with it, including the salience. all the way up to here, where everything just opens up. And obviously, as you probably wonder what this yellow thing is, that's just the bus reverb that I added on the synth, which I will discuss in another. I don't want to make this one too long. I will discuss my buses in another tutorial and how I use them. But anyway, let's focus back on this synth right here. So now, as you can tell, the track is starting to close out. We're at 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So now I'm gonna kind of bottle it up a little bit, start putting the cap on, bringing everything in, and start closing the track. So it opened up, and closed. So it's basically like this, like that. So it's literally like a you know, an undercurrent wave or whatever you want to call it, a vacuum. Like I was describing the other. It sounds to me like you being sucked into a vacuum or being pulled undercurrent. That's why it's called drifting under. At least that's the name I gave it. So anyway, so now it's bottling up. So, so the synth drops, and you can see it's just the bass line and that sailing synth, the little kind of trancey sound thing that that's arpeggiated. Right. Let's see. Zoom, baby. All right, guys. Well, I hope this tutorial helped give you a little insight on how I did this track, Drifting Under, and hopefully you got something out of it. Like I said, man, I'm all about keeping it simple and effective, and to me, less is more. The simpler, the better. When you start adding way too much crap, it loses its luster, it loses its groove, and loses its heart. That's why simplicity is always the best, but simplicity can also be the most difficult thing to create, because when you don't have a lot to work with, you gotta keep it interesting, and in order to keep it interesting, you gotta figure out ways how to manipulate certain sounds and elements. And what I showed you earlier, how I cut out loops certain ways to create that Tetris effect. So when something falls out, something comes in and fills in its space. So if a loop is cut like midway or 3/4 of the way, there's something else that'll pop in, just fill that space and drop back out, and keeps it going. And that's what creates this kind of a chugginess, that groove. It's give and take, give and take. Same thing what I showed you with my panning. The thing goes left, right, tak, tak. So when something drops, you'll hear that tak, tak, left, right. It manipulates the brain and manipulates the mind, and also plays with the heart and soul, because it all kind of complements you. I don't know how to put in words. I know what I know what I'm feeling up here and how it's portrayed in the music. It's just hard for me to put in words, but I know visually how it needs to look for a physical feel. And yeah, man, this is how I come up with these tracks. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and it's one of my favorite. I'm looking forward for this to come out on my album soon. Next tutorials, Again, I'm gonna touch on how I do side chain. I'm not so well. Yeah, if you need me to show you how to side chain, I can do that. Just let me know. But I'm gonna do one on how do I use my buses. Like for example, the bus here. How I use buses, how I keep it simple, how buses help me make the track open up and close, and how I use it for special effects in regards to breakdowns. They're very helpful. Buses are amazing for breakdowns and build-ups and how you can manipulate them and use them. I'm also going to do a tutorial again for somebody who was asking me about how to get creating a track or arrangements could be difficult. Knowing when to drop the breakdown, how to keep the track interesting. I'm gonna do a tutorial about how to use some of your favorite tracks that you love, that you either play or you heard, to create the same kind of vibe with your own tracks, to use it almost as a guide. And it's a great way that I used to use, and I still do it to this day, when I'm stuck in a project and I don't know where to go with it, and I just have this amazing just elements all over here, but I just don't know how it should go, how it should build. And next to couple tutorials, I will be doing that as well and showing you an easy and a quick way. And also, it's actually fun to create using tracks that you love, that you've heard, and you think the arrangement is just blowing your mind. All right, guys. So hope you enjoyed this. Again, thank you for everything, your support. We're in 2021. I couldn't be more happier to keep continuing doing this. I'm learning so much from you guys, and as much as you're learning from me. And this has opened up a whole new world for me. So I'm really, really excited to have you guys on board, joining me on Patreon to show you my stuff behind the studio and just hanging out here virtually, studio hangout, and getting to see how the magic happens. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Have a great week, great month, and great 2021. Peace.